Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Garrett. I'm a content creator that covers Mario Kart and Pokemon from an analytical side, forging ahead with new experiences based on fond memories of the past. If you share these interests and more, I highly encourage you to view the entire catalog of content here and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for the support. In this video, I will be breaking down the news that turned the Mario Kart Tour world on its head. Whether you're a player that has been following along in this journey from the very beginning when the game launched in September 2019, or if you're just joining in now because you heard of all the exciting changes that are coming to this game, rest assured we will be covering it from every angle from this point forward. There's so much exciting content on the way, and this is just a monumental start to that. So let's go into this new announcement from the Mario Kart Tour team. Thank you for playing the Mario Kart Tour game. Mario Kart Tour will receive an update around the end of September. This message is to inform you of the features being added in this update, renovations coming to the shop, and more. The community has been expecting battle mode for quite some time. The assets were originally data mined in the spring of 2021. The expectation has further ramped up with new findings along the way this year, including courses and sound files that are lodged within the game's code. And now we have the official announcement here. Battles are coming to single player and multiplayer, a brand new mode being brought to the game, although it is not being mentioned as a game mode itself, and it's just being called battles. In these battles, each player has balloons attached to their cart. So this is a very traditional experience for Mario Kart, and your goal is to pop your opponent's balloons. It'll take some skillful item use to pop their balloons while protecting your own. You can play battles starting with the tour that begins October 5th, 2022. That will be on a Wednesday. And if we look ahead at the schedule, we have the Mario vs. Luigi Team Rally Tour, which will be following the Bowser Tour that is currently ongoing at the time of this recording. After the Mario vs. Luigi Tour, in all likelihood, we will have the 3rd anniversary tour celebrating the 3-year birthday of Mario Kart Tour. And then the tour that follows that will begin on October 5th. And that will be this tour that will include the new battle mode features. Along with this update, multiplayer standard races and gold races will be combined, and gold races available only to Gold Pass subscribers will be removed. This is a part of that initial warning that we received from the developers, and then they go on to show us the steps for canceling Gold Pass memberships should that sway your decision in being a subscriber of that service. The key change that is occurring here is that if you are a Gold Pass player, you can no longer have unranked races in worldwide lobbies. The only way that you can have unranked races is through room codes with friends. This isn't a significant change in feature, however, it may sway some folks' perspective out there who may feel additional and undesirable pressure when it comes to performing in worldwide races, now that that unranked feature for Gold Pass players will no longer be available. However, by and large, the value and functions of the Gold Pass membership exceeds well beyond that of the multiplayer feature, as we will talk about coming up now with the shop renovations here. This was the shocker of all shockers. Most of us out there were expecting the shop portion of the news to be related to Daily Selects, which has lacked strategic value with changes that have been occurring in the Mario Kart Tour economy. As we found out, the news is much larger than that, and I think all of us collectively had to pull our jaws up off the floor as we read we'll be adding a spotlight shop where you can exchange rubies for drivers, karts, and gliders featured in tours. Well, that was an appetizing first sentence, but then it gets even better than that. New drivers, karts, and gliders, as well as drivers, karts, and gliders who have appeared in the past will be available. Along with this, the pipe you can fire by using rubies will be removed. So any pipe that we have currently had access to, aka the gacha, which is the loot box mechanism that exists in Mario Kart Tour, is going away for good. Note the Spotlight Shop will appear with tours that begin after 10/5/2022, so these changes will coincide with that of the battle modes implementation in Mario Kart Tour. The benefit that applied to some drivers, carts, and gliders who appeared in the pipes, you could fire by using rubies that boosted them, so the second and third course of all cups during the tour are favored and favorite courses will be removed. And this is the so-called Spotlight boost, whereby the week 1 pipes Spotlight items would receive a course favoritism in the second course of every cup in that tour, and the Spotlights in the week 2 pipe would receive the same degree of favoritism in the third course of each cup during a tour. They go on to say lots of other things are in the works too. How could it be bigger than this, right? Note the content and timing of the update are subject to change, so even this timetable that they've provided us with may be altered in some way before it is made available. We hope you continue to enjoy playing Mario Kart Tour. Where to begin with this? One of the fundamental underpinnings of Mario Kart Tour's economy has been that of rubies being required to fire pipes, which is this game's version of the loot box, or random gambling component in the game in order to obtain the items that will present value to your account as you go through and interact with the content that they provide regularly. Rubies can be obtained for free in the game since it is a free-to-play game, but by the other side of the token, in order to fully maximize through the framework as the developers have created your outcomes in the game, it's heavily encouraged and often coerced into spending money through these systems. This framework created much of the polarization that laid the groundwork for the perception around Mario Kart Tour. With its removal, we are bound to see an influx of curious onlookers to see just what the new Mario Kart Tour presents, to experience all of the wonderful joys that this game has to offer. I covered in a past video why I love Mario Kart Tour, and it involves the rich character diversity that welcomes us new experiences through the nostalgia of these titans in gaming that many of us either grew up with or have fond memories of in the past. The character and item progression model that exists in Mario Kart Tour is completely unique to the franchise. It's more akin to that of an RPG than it is to a kart racing game. The added elements of strategy and proper resource management meld beautifully with that of core Mario Kart racing mechanics, with a novel twist in that of the scoring system. The potential for these changes to reduce the barrier for more people to experience the good side of Mario Kart Tour is overwhelmingly positive from my perspective. However, my outlook on things is cautiously optimistic, being that revenue is the chief concern of any game development team, and the removal of these gambling and predatory elements will likely confer the presentation of new dilemmas for the players as we interact and engage with these new systems by way of the Spotlight Shop. Where my coverage of this content will be leading is through the evaluation and analysis of this new market, and once we've established an in-depth look of the cost for these items and the kind of value that they will then confer to your account, as well as projecting future value for items that will be debuting through this new system once the data has been thoroughly researched. With the headlines taken care of now, let's swing it over to the shop and go into a little bit more detail on how I can see things playing out here. Now, the one thing to note in the curious connection between this new Spotlight Shop is that with the Mii Racing Suit shop, because In retrospect, now that we see that this is the direction Mario Kart Tour is going, the Mii Racing Suit Shop really provided the blueprint for what is about to come. And we can discuss the reasons for why Nintendo is doing this. One of the primary reasons being that of changes within the European Union laws with regards to loot box and gacha games. Mario Kart Tour is already banned and unable to access in Belgium. But just this year, in fact, we already covered it in previous content, the Netherlands and other European countries have been looking at instituting a full ban on these games. In fact, the Norwegian Consumer Council recently put forth a report in which they were trying to get all of their European agency counterparts on board with this. Reads almost like something out of my series of content here on the channel, and I'll just read to you the bullet points for why they deem the current system, as we can observe in Mario Kart Tour, as illicit by exploiting cognitive biases and vulnerabilities through deceptive design and marketing, using layers of virtual currencies to mask or distort real-world monetary costs, and targeting loot boxes and manipulative practices towards minors. And this last point is the one that really strikes a nerve that's close to me. My stance on this platform has been to largely repudiate the gacha within Mario Kart Tour, all the way back to the very first pipe polling video that I did in the Bowser vs. DK Tour. It was really an unsettling experience, and I described that in the epilogue of that video, describing my past experiences in my time spent as a semi-professional gambler on weekends when I was still in college. I was studying the numbers and going to the casinos with a clear professional aim, and the notion that I was sharing tips and strategies for success and optimization on the channel here, and that with the idea that there would be minors learning how to gamble through that content, really made me take a step back. I've never been a strong proponent of the gambling aspect in Mario Kart Tour, particularly after I became a public face within the Mario Kart Tour community. It just never sat comfortably with me, in addition to other shortcomings I've seen in the Mario Kart Tour economy and the way that Nintendo has conducted their business in this game. And my criticism of this game has always been with positive intention. My chief concern has always been you, the player. The Mii Racing Suit Shop is just another example of that. Many folks out there may have started following the channel when I started hosting the Mii Hour during my tour reactions, right? And then eventually the Mii Minute, and then not at all. And the purpose of that was to really study under a microscope the elements and the landscape that they were creating in this brand new market to better understand where Mario Kart Tour was going. And there was a lot of risk to introducing a new set of items that could fundamentally upend the current power system that exists within the game, since these characters right here can exceed the power of the standard high ends that we receive through the Spotlight pipes that will now be changing according to this new Spotlight Shop update. The value of these things would have to be controlled and regulated heavily by Nintendo in order to prevent an entire collapse of their economy in the long run. We have still not seen what the end point is yet for the Miis, and that concern that I raised in the initial observations of the Mii Hour still do apply. The potential that I see for Mario Kart Tour exceeds that of a 5-year roadmap that might have it endings at some point in 2024, right after the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass DLC package has run its course and all of those waves have been brought in. The reason for that is because this game touches the lives of everyone who has a mobile device and an interest in Mario Kart. The number of people that includes is exponentially larger than the demography of players who own a Nintendo Switch, inability to maintain proper game balance is one of the largest threats to the longevity of such a product. We've reached a point where the most premium customers in Mario Kart Tour have accepted and adopted the Mii racing suits as their primary strategy. This was going to be the eventual endgame for that kind of consumer, because if you put the potential out there, someone will endeavor to unlock that. However, that doesn't make it a prudent and effective move for others to follow them. As it stands now, the plus skill Mii racing suits constitute approximately 1/2 of the overall course coverage, as does an optimal set of high-end drivers, which does include, mind you, some Coinbox drivers, such as Meowser and such as Kamek, as well as other course coverage superstars like Penguin Mario, DK Jr., Peach Explorer. Therefore, spending the same amount of tickets to get relatively half the course coverage when those characters don't provide twice as much scoring output as does those optimal coverage combinations means that it's exploiting the players that have the capacity in order to pursue that. It's this doubling and tripling down on the exploitation of those premium customers that has left me somewhat disillusioned with the direction that Nintendo has taken Mario Kart Tour in this recent year. And while Nintendo is removing the gacha and the gambling elements of the game, that could likely just be as a response to the upcoming legal roadblocks that they would face should it continue with that same mechanism in the game. But that doesn't mean that all the pitfalls will be removed once the gambling is out of Mario Kart Tour. The way how this new shop is set up, the cost for those items, and the kind of value that they can present are just as potentially manipulative on its players as is the current gambling system minus the random chance factor. The price point on these new Spotlight shops will be quite curious, because as we can see here in the Mii Racing Suit shop, when there's a new one that's debuting, it comes with a 30% off discount from the initial 100 ruby cost. So in order to pick up this new driver then, you could just spend 70 rubies and that would be needed in order to obtain that. However, given that an entire 100 spotlight pipe to obtain a brand new set of spotlights could potentially cost the user 450 rubies, could we be seeing costs in excess of these 70 and 100 ruby marks that we see for the Mii Racing Suit shops? That is certainly possible. I would anticipate the cost to be between 100 and 200 rubies prior to any kind of a discount. And I would also expect to see stratification between that of drivers with that of karts and gliders, because if we scroll down to, the regular shops, which I'll go to the tier shop here, since this is a good example. The high-end driver ticket there costs 15,000 coins, and that's a premium rate. They tack on an additional 3,000 coin cost because this is available for 7 days out of the tour. And then if we scroll down, we can see that the kart and glider only cost 13,000 coins, and that's with an additional 3,000 cost premium added to it. The coin rates for these tickets in the daily selects, which I would call market value prices, are 12,000 for the driver and 10,000 for that of the kart and the glider. And then what becomes of the Miis with all of this, right? If we click on About the Mii Racing Suit shop, it indicates that the base point cap can be increased by 10 whenever you make a new purchase, and that will be capped off at some point. But it says down here in the notes that Mii Racing Suits may appear again in future pipes. Now, that's may appear again in future pipes is not a guarantee in of itself, but what has been speculated by myself and others within the community is that the 3rd anniversary was going to have Mii's as being the focal point, since that was really the dominant new force in the game in its 3rd year, to have a celebration of sorts and to provide an opportunity, perhaps at a discount, for players that may have missed out on all of these new ones when they were available for 70 rubies, such as the PD Piranha Mii Racing Suit there, the opportunity to gain entry into these items without having to pay the full cost of 100 rubies. What's also interesting to note about these changes is with the dissolution of the week 1 and week 2 spotlight pipes, they are doing away with the spotlight boost in the second and the third frame of the cup. And along with these Miis, they instituted a Mii Racing Suit boost for the first track in each course, which would indicate that if for any reason in the future Nintendo ever decided to do away with the Mii Racing Suit shop, that all of those racing suits would lose access to the Mii boost from that point forward. One may question why Nintendo would ever do that, but was the prospect of losing pipes ever on anyone's radar out there? There can be unprecedented action taken by the developers at any point in this game's life cycle. And that's a really proper thing for folks to keep in mind out there, is that whatever kind of spending that you do in this game, it's really just a lease on your entertainment for that given moment. That really sets the terms of engagement for how each of us chooses to interact with this game. Having talked a lot about the pipes and their removal, what's a more appropriate way than to continue the discussion other than that of firing token shop pipes, which shouldn't be removed. These I expect to stay here because the tokens are obtained for free. This is not one of the virtual currencies where there's any kind of conversion factor going back to real world capital. So therefore, I fully expect that of the token shop pipes to remain. That's going to be an important vehicle forward for obtaining coins. And that's another discussion I've seen a lot about with the removal of the pipes fired with rubies. Some folks out there might be wondering, how are you going to obtain coins for your account, right? Well, I would highlight that it's only for an extremely stratified kind of player where you're obtaining very many coins through the pipes by having your items maxed out, right? We read it in the Mii Racing Suit shop details, where if you were to obtain one of those drivers after it's reached the max level, the result would be that of coins, right? And that is often the case with only the most premium and legacy of accounts that exist out there. If you're someone that's played for a while and you're free to play, or if you're gold pass only, you're not in a situation where you have many of these items maxed out. And actually, before we start the token shop pipes, I'll just go into like this Bowser pipe 2 here and take a look at the details. We can see that, for example, if you have the super gliders maxed out, and that's entirely, there's 15 super gliders. Remember that they combined the regular and the premium categories for that of these item classifications. So out of those 15 gliders, you get 4% odds on super gliders and that of a standard 100 pipe, which if you have just a single super glider maxed out, it's like a 0.2% chance for you to obtain coins converted through that of your pipe pole whenever you fire on the pipe. So really, this has not been an effective means for obtaining coins unless you are far up on that stratified scale. So not much will change there. However, the inclusion of these token shop pipes has greatly increased the coin capacity of accounts moving forward. So I would anticipate to see this staying. Perhaps down the road, the rates can be fluctuated in some way to adjust the experience for the better, and or the potential for new outlets to be brought into the game. Certainly we saw recently the return of daily login bonuses, right? So there's all kinds of ways that they can incentivize play and help out their players with these resources. So let's just start firing away here and we'll continue this great discussion. First one up, we have a green pipe. Okay, wow, we start with the worst kind of item that we can get. We have the red points boost tickets, right? Oh my goodness. Let's wait for a good one before we get back into the discussion here. Wow, we have a duplicate. Maybe they don't like the dialogue that we've been sharing on this one. But you know what? The thing is, like I've already said, I'm looking out for you, the player, and that presents a direct challenge to that of the developers to have them rise and elevate to an honest and effective standard by which we can all enjoy and interact with this. I really do have great expectations for what Mario Kart Tour can be. The fact that so many people have access to a mobile device relative to that of a gaming system, and just interacting with each of you through the comments here, right? I've gotten to learn so much about each and every one of you and what Mario Kart Tour means for you. What was actually a fascinating discussion that I shared on the live stream when I originally read this news with the audience there was just how this marks the 2-year point. I remember when I first joined the Kart Life server in that community, making my first friends within the free-to-play community, and that of Justin, Esai, and Alpha. It's hard to believe 2 years has flown by, right? And just to think about the place that we were at then versus where we are now, right? And how much has changed in each of our lives, but also with the game itself. The game has been completely transformational. And back then I wasn't in the public eye. I was not doing YouTube. It wasn't even a motivation of mine. It was just really to learn and master all of these different systems, right? And it's been quite a journey along the way. Mario Kart Tour has gotten me through a lot of difficult times, and we all face challenges out there. And I'd say what has really been my chief motivation in why I do content and why I keep up with it is the notion that this was a companion for me during some very difficult times, and I want to make this be a healthy and enjoyable experience for others out there that are going through your own struggles, right? And I want this to be that little piece of something that can help uplift you, right? To give you hope and inspiration and enjoyment, to see you through your challenges. That's been my chief motivation in standing against all of the aggressive elements that have existed within the game. And I'll continue to bat for all of you out there, because that's what this is all about, 100%. So we have a gold pipe here. Let's see what it is. Okay, we have a Kart points cap ticket. Very good. You know I like the Kart points cap tickets because I've used them the most. There's the most inventory for that of carts, the most options available, and therefore it requires that many more tickets in order to utilize those items to their maximum. Okay, we're on the board with coins. Very, very nice. See, there's nothing to get worked up with over these resources. So one question that I'm sure many people in the audience will be wondering is, Kevin, you've been holding on to all these rubies. They're like, why are you saving these rubies? Come on, just give me like 100 of those and I'll burn them in like 2 seconds, right? I know that's probably a thought that many of you have out there. And look, a key component of that has been the gambling and the gacha element of it. It's not that I'm incapable of interacting with it. I just don't like the way that it makes me feel. And even someone that can spot the manipulation that's occurring doesn't mean that I'm immune to it. I'm full well that it has an effect on me, and I'm self-aware enough to admit it. And that's why I've always said that if anyone out there completely dismisses or ignores the fact that Mario Kart Tour up until this point has had predatory and manipulative practices, then you're more susceptible to these factors than the rest of us who are willing to observe and admit that these have a pull on us. Another component of the savings has been the character drought, though, that we have seen, right? Like if you take a look at my past history on pulling on pipes, you might have noticed that I've only done 3 100 pipes in the last 13 months. And 2 of those were Kamek and PD Piranha, brand new original characters that were brought to the game. And I want to support the game for decisions like that. You know, I leave it up to the audience, and then you always speak overwhelmingly in favor of doing such things. And, you know, I have to get through going into the gacha in order to obtain those items and to kind of share on the thrill of a new character being brought into this game. I think that is one of the magical elements of Mario Kart Tour, is that of the character roster, right? So when they bring in a new one that is, you know, greatly sought after by the fans, you know, I want to support that, even though it's not the character that I want to see. You folks know that I'm in this game for the Kongs. Cranky Kong is out there. There's other Kongs out there. None of them have been brought into the game, not for the last 2 years. So I've been withholding on a hardline stance, mind you. I'm a proponent of speaking with your actions, and that's why I have chosen for a very long time to largely withhold my rubies that I earn free to play from that of their virtual economy. The game was at its most magical state when all of the different character interests had recent representation actively accruing value in the game. So that stance, along with the one that I have on the gacha, has been driven through not just my actions, but also the content here, because that will help Mario Kart Tour achieve its maximum condition. These rubies are not going to make a difference in their bottom line. However, the information that I've learned by playing in the manner that I have has been invaluable and instrumental, not just for myself, but for so many out there. And I thank you all for sharing the transformational journey that not just myself, but many of us have gone on together as we've learned about the systems in Mario Kart Tour. And it's not just about pushing the envelope week after week. How much can you invest? Can I get more, right? No, it's like, let's take a look at things from the opposite end of the spectrum. What happens if you never obtain anything? What does the game do to you then? Do they just want to run you into the pavement and wave you goodbye? That's not how it works. You've seen how the forces, the same ones that can keep you locked out from tearing up, can be used to your specific advantage in order to help elevate your account with spending fewer resources than that of your fellow players. And that is what I cover through my regular series of content week in and week out here on the channel. All right, let's go into the next pipe. Ooh, okay. Points cap ticket for the car. I thought it was a level up ticket at first, but that's right. That would be ×2. And I like how they do that on the tickets. All right, here we go. 100 token pipe being fired. It's another greenie. Oh, 3 rubies. Okay, so this is another one of those times where they're giving us a little bit of everything here. And I have to say, I kind of approve of that. I don't, need a certain concentration of any particular thing. The new system will draw my interest in the possibility of using rubies more in the future, since that chance element and the risk of doing so is being removed entirely. However, I am still going to cautiously apply my virtual currency in the game until I see that support being generated for the various fan interests out there. And that kind of melds to the approach that I would take to this new shop in the first place anyway, which is that of being cautious, right? And I would strongly urge caution in both the Mario vs. Luigi tour as well as the 3rd anniversary tour is using rubies. You can perhaps even view those 2 tours as being savings tours. I'm sure that they will present pipes with astronomical value, maybe not totally giving away the game, but certainly sending off pipes with a bang. I would certainly expect that to be the case. And it may be tempting for many folks out there to use up your rubies in that situation, but think about what's always coming out next, right? That's the way how these games operate. That's how they make revenue. The most valuable thing is always the thing that hasn't been released yet. You can never go wrong by playing it too conservatively. My other major mobile gaming experience comes from that of Pokemon Go. I was one of the original players in that, right? And having developed a keen understanding of that game's virtual currency economy, also seeing the way how development phases work, whereby systems that are in play that are not necessarily balanced can be readjusted at a future point, and then you dumped all of your resources into them, and those options that you dumped all of your resources into are no longer functionally viable in the same way. And therefore changing the focus then on learning the systems and mastering the resource and value for all the options that exist out there to entirely maximize the effect that your account is able to produce with whatever resources that you are working with. So let's go into the next pipe. Another green one. What's fascinating is that before this news had launched, I was preparing to discuss random seeding with pipes. That was something that I had mentioned in the Pitfalls in Mario Kart Tour video that had garnered quite a bit of attention in the comments section. And there's obviously some debate and questions with regards to the random seeding of how pipes operate in the game. But it looks like, by and large, the research that can go into that and its implication seem to be defunct. All right, 2 driver scalp tickets. That's like pulling 2 Diddy Kongs. So good, so good. Some folks mentioned that they'll never get to see me pull in a pipe for a Kong, and honestly, that's quite all right. It's actually better off this way because I like to focus my strategic output on known and clear outcomes, and certainly I don't think it would be in anyone's interest to watch me squirm all the way down to the bottom of a 100 pipe in order to get the long-awaited new Kong driver. It will be so much more satisfying just to see the value up front and to go through all the numbers and the value and project that forward to see just what that means for when it does come into the game, right? Of course, it could still be quite a while until we see any of them get some kind of special treatment. I mean, it would be kind of ironic actually if it occurred immediately after the removal of pipes. That would really be a sign of good faith. But reading the tea leaves and seeing what that IP means to the larger Nintendo brand, I certainly wouldn't expect that anytime on the horizon. We know that that theme park is going to be releasing in 2024, so I mean, as a worst case scenario, they're going to be taking care of the characters at that given point in time. All right, we have the parafoil here. As we're getting down there on pipes, let's turn our sights then to the future of Mario Kart Tour and what this could possibly mean. They didn't really talk about the systems by which battles will take place in single player mode, right? They did indicate that it would be single player in addition to multiplayer, which means that there will be a particular emphasis provided to that, and maybe a brand new economy will take form. That's what's really going to be needed in order to propel Mario Kart Tour. I don't know for a fact if it's been on a 5-year plan, but the trajectory up until this point would support that kind of a timetable. Some people looking at these changes might say in tandem with the repeated notification on how to cancel Gold Pass subscription is basically like a premature see ya notice, right? As in like the servers will be shutting down at a given point in time, and to tail off players who are heavily steeped in real world transactions with the game, that kind of like grace period to detach from that situation as kind of like a courtesy. While that is a chance that this is what's operating, I personally don't put my expectations on that, particularly given that the developers themselves stated they have more plans in the works and they seem to be excited about that. But in order for those plans to come to fruition, the kind of content and economy that they provide around that content will need to support further revenue in order to fully realize all of that great stuff that they have in store. Look, Mario Kart Tour has improved as a game every single year, despite what the economy has been like, what the pipes have been like, right? Like, they have added so many different features to the shops, the way how resources are obtained, the quality of items, and also the track diversity and the raw amount of courses that are available in the game. It's really the most robust Mario Kart experience to date. And my hope is certainly that people join in even more now and can accept Mario Kart Tour as one of the key entries within this franchise. The depths of strategy that exists in this game is enormous. There's really so much to it, and it's so unique from that of other Mario Kart experiences. I really don't see what the threat is in any of the general audience's perspective with regards to Tour compared to other Mario Kart franchise entries. It's really its own thing. And look, you know, being the nature of the beast that it is a mobile game and it generates revenue a certain way, those are totally valid points, and we have been totally transparent and very specific detail on the ways that they have affected into it. No hot takes, clickbait coverage of content, just completely wholesome and holistic views of these systems and as they operate on a scale from free to play all the way up to premium customers. So here we are, we're getting down, and this is the final so many. $1,000 coins, very good. So the key takeaway from this for me is that this is a game that I think we can be even more welcoming towards the kind of players now that we bring into the game. I feel like the way how it was set up before was particularly limiting. I think this is going to change the game for the better for the parents out there who are actively playing Mario Kart Tour. And maybe in the past, as many of you have shared with me, that you interact with your children a little bit with this game, and perhaps you mold and manicure their account a little bit and shield them from some of the more aggressive elements that exist in the game. And I think this is just one step further in allowing them to kind of have that experience be their own in a healthy environment. And that's so good, honestly. It's long overdue, and it fits with the values of when we typically think of Nintendo, at least from our childhoods, right? And the significance and the meaning that those characters and their representation bore. Some more normal tickets. Alrighty, here, I think this is the final pipes that we do. $1,500 coins. What's the grand finale gonna be? Oh wow, this is actually the final one. Wow. All right, well, better make it a good one. This has been a doozy of an episode, and I thank you all for staying with me for this entire ride as we look at things past, present, and future. The future is so bright, and I can't wait to get into all that coverage. So we end with a green one. And it's a glider cap ticket. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me on this episode. We can continue the discussion in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of these changes, maybe some things that you'd like to see me cover that are of particular interest to you. I want to know about that. So write to me below. Also, feel free to join the Discord server where we do daily live streams. You can get to see what some of the final Token Shop pipes will be. Link will be in the description below. I greatly appreciate all the support that you leave with the channel. This content is made for you. So with that out of the way, I do appreciate everything that you provide in the way of opportunity for this channel and its growth. It really means the world, and I'll be seeing you for more comprehensive content. Take care, everybody.